get the front end put back on the car. So I'm gonna have to start by trimming a lot of the OEM bumper so it can fit on the front mount, because right now it's way off. So a lot of this material has to come off. I don't know about you guys, but I hate working on my car in the winter. So I went ahead and picked up one of these. It's a Mr. Heater, the Big Buddy. These can run on those 2 1-pound tanks. Right now I have it hooked up to my my barbecue propane tank, and it seems to be working out pretty good. I mean, it hasn't really warmed up the garage too much, but it's kind of nice just to come over here for a minute and just kind of warm up. Well, instead of using a utility knife or something like that, I'm gonna give this thing a try. Alright, so I went ahead and just made a line. I'm just going to cut off a couple inches at a time. I'm going to try to cut as little as possible, so I'm just going to cut about 2 or 3 inches off right now and see how that works. That's what it looks like so far. Now, that actually cut a lot better than I thought it would. Once I do the final cut, I'll have to come back and sand it a little bit, but otherwise it's a pretty clean cut. Second attempt, cut about another 2.5 inches off. You can see I'm really close. It's getting there. So I'll probably just have to trim the edges a little bit more, and should fit perfectly. Alright, this gives you a better idea of actually how much of the OEM bumper you're going to have to cut if you want it to fit with the front mount. And I'm running the Greddy Front Mount Intercooler, so it's probably going to be a little bit different depending upon which manufacturer you go with, but there you go. If there's one piece of advice that I could give anyone working on a car is, if you're going to take it apart, put all the hardware in a bag and label it. So when it comes time to putting it back together, you don't have to waste a bunch of time looking for all the hardware, and it's already ready to go. And there it is, all back together. It's been a long time since I've had the car this complete. And you can see what I've cut out actually fits really well. I had to cut a little bit more material up here than I thought I would, but overall I'm pretty happy with it. If I ever take the bumper off again, I may trim it a little bit more, but otherwise I'm going to leave it just the way it is. And anyone else with a pig nose bumper, I'm thinking about actually cutting these out to try to get a little bit more airflow to the radiator, since the intercooler is kind of blocking the majority of it right now. Probably should have done that before I put the bumper back on, but I have a feeling I'll be taking the bumper off again here pretty soon to just kind of tidy everything up. But it's looking pretty good. This replacement fender that I got, I need to kind of tweak this a little bit. It's not sitting right, but otherwise all the other body lines, everything else looks really good, so I'm pretty happy. Also went ahead and picked up a OEM Radiator Shroud instead of bothering with spending the time wiring up the electric fans. The clutch fan works fine for now, but from what I've read, the shroud is really important if you're going to stick with the clutch fan, so I'm going to go ahead and get this installed. Alright, so I'm just doing a little bit of test fitting, and the shroud fits actually really well with the coil. The only problem I see is I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to install the clutch fan back on there without pulling the radiator off first, but it'll definitely save me a lot of time, but I'll give it a shot. Oh, that's on. I just had to pull the upper radiator hose out, so now I've just got to tighten down the hardware on the clutch fan itself. Alright, as you can see, it fits really well. I was able to use the mounting points on the coil. I was able to use the hardware to mount it to the coil, but we've got to come up with a better solution for the lower part of the shroud because I just zip tied it for now. I'll need to come up with something a little bit more permanent. It does rub a little bit on the intercooler piping there, so I might trim that a little bit in the future, but yeah, it's looking pretty good. Got it jacked up right now because I'm gonna bleed the coolant one more time. I'm not sure if I've gotten all the air out of the line, so just as a precaution I'm gonna do it one more time. Well, the second test drive went really well. I put on about 5 or 6 miles. Didn't have any problems. Car seemed to run really well. The only problem I had is the rain guard or whatever came off and started rubbing on the tires. So I'm not even sure if I'm going to end up keeping those, but for now I just kind of mushed it in there and got it out of the way. But yeah, pretty happy with it. I don't see any leaks. I did have a little coolant leak there, but I put a different kind of hose clamp on it and seemed to have fixed the problem. So yeah, now I'm just going to start cleaning it up.